I am 85 years old, and I have lived long enough to understand that memory can be more dangerous than the ocean. People think the worst part of that day was the shark. It wasn't. It was the second before it. It was the part where I did nothing. We were 22, drifting off the coast. The sky was so blue it almost hurt to look at. Lena kept laughing at how serious I was, Evan. She said I worried too much. The water was calm, too calm. I remember that detail because it still feels wrong in my bones. The water was calm, too calm. I remember that detail because it still feels wrong in my bones. When she slipped, it didn't feel like a tragedy. It felt like a mistake. A clumsy, harmless mistake. She surfaced laughing, brushing hair from her eyes. I can still see the sunlight on her shoulders. I can still hear her say, "Relax, I'm fine." Then I saw something move beneath her. At first, I told myself it was a shadow from the boat. But shadows do not glide, shadows do not circle. I felt it before I understood it, a tightening in my chest, a warning that came too late. I remember reaching for the life ring. I remember opening my mouth to scream. And then nothing. That's the part no one understands. For one long, endless second, I froze. I wasn't brave. I wasn't decisive. I wasn't heroic. I simply watched. The ocean erupted. I threw the ring too late. I leaned too far. I shouted her name until my throat tore, but I did not jump. For 40 years, I have asked myself why. Was it fear? Was it instinct? Or was it symptom of the selfish animal need to survive? The newspapers called it a shark attack. Strangers shook their heads and said it was tragic, unavoidable, nature's cruelty. They told me I was lucky to be alive. Lucky, that word followed me like a stain, because here's what I have never told anyone. Sometimes in the quiet hours before dawn, I hear her voice not screaming, but whispering, "You could have reached me." When I close my eyes, I see that second stretch wider than the sea itself. My hand hovering, my body locked. My mind calculating risk. I remember thinking, just for a flicker, a heartbeat, if I jump, it could take me too. And in that flicker, I chose to live. I married. I had children. I built a life. I smiled in photographs. I blew up birthday candles year after year while Lena remained 22 forever. But survival has a sound. It sounds like waves hitting the shore at night. It sounds like your own breath when you wake from dreams, where water fills your lungs. I never swam again. The ocean never left me. Sometimes I wonder if the shark truly took her, or if my hesitation did. Memory is cruel. It edits, it distorts. There are nights when I cannot tell what lasted longer, the attack or my paralysis. Did I freeze for a second or longer? Did I hesitate or did I choose? At 85, the body weakens, but the mind sharpens in strange ways. You begin to see yourself without excuses. I was not a villain. I was not a coward. I was human. And that is what terrifies me most. Because inside every human heart, the survive, even if survive costs you someone you love. When I sit by the window now and look toward the horizon, I do not see blood in the water. I see two young women laughing, believing they were untouchable. I will warn them. I want to tell my younger self, move, jump, don't think, but time does not rewind. If there is a heaven, I imagine Madlima standing at its edge, dry and whole. Talk no fear in her eyes. I imagined her than that in the most important Saphir. Or maybe I simply failed the version of myself I thought I was. The ocean that day was not the only predator. Fear was. And fear has followed me for 63 years. Fear was. And fear has followed me for 63 years. Tell me in the comments I was at mistake or I had nothing in my hands.